just because it doesn't pass judgment doesn't mean it doesn't care. We are of it, by it, for it. We are who God most wanted to be. We are here with default settings to thrive. We have this divine nature. Our thoughts become things, whether we like it or not. But thoughts in alignment with truth become things much easier than thoughts out of alignment with truth, because it's a non-neutral, I know that's a kind of like a double negative almost, non-neutral universe. We live in a loving universe that conspires on our behalf. It's like we're cheating every single day. It's not fair. Life is not fair. The cards are stacked in our favor. Now, it doesn't judge us, but that doesn't mean it doesn't care. The game is rigged, Michael. That's how we have prevailed in spite of the odds.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to another episode of Might Help, Can't Hurt. Conversations with leaders, doers, and friends. And my leader, doer, and friend today is Mike Dooley, the Mike Dooley. Mike, how are you?
Hey, Michael, I'm great. So happy and honored to be with you right now.
So I was trying to remember when we met. Now, I sort of remember where we met. It was in London. It was with Nick Askew. But was it like 2006, 2007?
I think that's as close as I could place it. It was, oh gosh, so long ago. It was, I think, before The Secret was released.
Well, that's what I mean, is you were a big deal, but you weren't a big deal. I knew Mike Dooley when he was just Mike Dooley.
Yeah. Well, likewise, although you were already riding high. But yeah, those were the days back then. I was practically a one-man show, and I was speaking at alternatives in London, and nervous and scared to pieces, telling everybody thoughts becomes things.
And then thinking a bunch of scary ones.
Yeah, I know. Fortunately, one of my life lessons is that it's as if our positive thoughts are 10,000 times more powerful than our negative ones, because otherwise I'd be doomed. You know, I have been the biggest worrier my whole life, and yet I prevail and I succeed and I love my life, and I still worry, but those thoughts don't become things like the positive ones. And it's, really thinking about it a lot. It's thoughts in alignment with the truth of life's magnificence and our power, our divine heritage. Those thoughts become things quickly. Thoughts that contradict the beauty, the magnificence, our power, like I'm scared, I'm dumb, people won't like me. It's difficult to make those thoughts become things.
So do you not subscribe to I remember a book in the 80s that used to just terrify me. It was called You Can't Afford the Luxury of a Negative Thought. And like the idea was like, if you had one negative thought, you were going to hell. And I just was like, I don't know how to do this.
I used to have that fear. And I remember that book title as well, and I think we come from a place when we finally stumble into truth, like I'm one with the divine. I'm loved. I've never been judged. I'm doing my best. Everybody's doing their best. We suddenly, through euphoria, realize we live in a non-judgmental world, and we're like bouncing off the walls, annoying our friends. We're so happy, and what you think about, you bring about, and then it's like, oh, I just had a fearful thought. Oh, and this whole week I've been worried about getting fired, and I think my girlfriend's going to cheat on me. I'm doomed. And I used to think, oh my God, it's like a minefield. How I'm the most negative person in the world, but I would still prevail because there was always some degree, I didn't realize it at the time, of positivity, of optimism, of hope, of baby steps. And that made me realize my fear was born of, if we live in a non-judgmental world, then that must surely mean we live in a neutral world. If you think green, you get green. You think good, you get good. You think bad, you get bad. No, we do not, Sir Michael, live in a neutral world. We live in a non-neutral world. The universe, while not passing judgment on us, I'm preaching now, sorry. The universe, while not passing judgment, well, turn me off, man. just because it doesn't pass judgment doesn't mean it doesn't care. We are of it, by it, for it. We are who the universe, who God most wanted to be. We are here with default settings to thrive. We have this divine nature. Our thoughts become things, whether we like it or not. But thoughts in alignment with truth become things much easier than thoughts out of alignment with truth, because it's a non-neutral, I know that's a kind of like a double negative almost, non-neutral universe. We live in a loving universe that conspires on our behalf. It's like we're cheating every single day. It's not fair. Life is not fair. The cards are stacked in our favor. Now, it doesn't judge us, but that doesn't mean it doesn't care. The game is rigged, Michael. That's how we have prevailed in spite of the odds.
So do you know the history of the game Snakes and Ladders? Or Chutes and Ladders is the American version?
No, I do not. I don't even know the game.
The game is, you got to get it. It's a kid's game. It's a board game. And basically there are these 100 squares, and you go the 100 squares, but at some squares there are ladders that will take you jump ahead 5 or jump ahead 10. And there's one big ladder that's like jump ahead 30. And then there are, in the original version, snakes, in the modern version, slides, where if you land, it'll take you back 3, take you back 10, take you back 24. Oh. Well, the original game was created in medieval times. So I can, this is what I read. And it was rigged against you. So basically there were, say, 8 snakes and 7 ladders. Then as the world got more optimistic, like the Renaissance times, the game was updated so it was equal snakes and ladders. And then somewhere around the 20th century, early 20th century, they rigged it so there's one more ladder than snake. And I just always found that fascinating, because that is a game that is literally rigged in your favor. But basically how well you do depends on how many times you roll the dice.
And I would say basically how well you do is how much you believe in spite of appearances and show up. Not that you have to be superhuman. 5 minutes of visualization will offset, 18 hours of fear. One baby step will offset even more. So, you got to be in the game. You got to keep playing. You got to show up. The universe can't think your thoughts for you, but you just got to do the least amount. And, like Mark Twain said, I've had a lot of things to worry about in my life. Almost none of them happened.
Yeah.
It's like, how can that be? It's because thoughts out of alignment with truth. There is a truth. We're of God, by God, pure God, not a God of religion. But we're of the divine, by the divine, for the divine.
I know this is live, but my dogs are going insane in the background. I'm going to let them out.
Oh,
so, just roll.
Oh, well, I love that. I got my dog at my feet. We have a puppy right now. This is the year to get pets and puppies with COVID and stuff like that.
Oh,
I love working at home.
I was going to say it has its perks. How far in your mind does it go, and where I'm going with it? Because I've actually thought about this, and I thought, I'll ask Mike Dooley. Like, if thoughts become things, where'd COVID come from?
Whenever the unthought of lands on your path or our path, because individually we create our own reality, and collectively we create all that we share. That doesn't mean somebody can blame society if they're not happy. You create your own happiness. But when it comes to the weather, when it comes to trends in economies and cryptocurrencies and all these other things, we are at some removed degree a co-creator. And whenever the unthought of lands on our path, cancer, or, there's many good things. You suddenly meet that person that changes your life in so many splendid ways.
No, I'm going to stick with splendorful. That's
splendorful is a new word, and it should have been coined a long time ago. Whenever the unthought of lands on our paths, it is always a stepping stone on a journey to a further place that we were thinking of. And the only way to get to that further place that we were thinking of is to be drawn through unthought of territory. A little micro example, and then I'll apply it to COVID. I live in Orlando right now. Occasionally, I spend a long weekend in, Miami Beach. I love it. The weather, the energy. I'm even learning the language. My wife's Mexican, so I can say that. It's heavily Latino, and a beautiful Latino vibe it has. But Miami's my end result on a long road trip sometimes. I'm thinking of Miami. Those are my thoughts. Now, I live in Orlando. I get in my car. There's going to be a 4, 5, 6 hour journey, depending on traffic, depending on construction, depending on detours, depending on where I stop for gas or to rest. None of these things in the journey have I thought of. I'm thinking of Miami, but the only way to get to Miami is to go on a journey through unthought of territory, which does not imply anything could happen to anybody on their journeys. No, nothing can happen to me that falls outside of my greater framework of beliefs, expectations, and understandings about the nature of reality. So my perspectives in the journey will dictate, based on changing circumstances, which roads I take, what smiling faces I'll pass or be passed by, who's going to flick me a bird, or those are all my creations and co-creations as well. But I think you get the idea. To get to the place I'm thinking of, because I believe in the construct of time, space, and matter, past, present, future, I must be drawn through unthought of territory. Now, not all people have, sunny destinations as end results. A lot of people, have a lot of fear going on, a lot of negativity going on. They don't know enough to have at least 5 minutes a day of positivity. So not only are their destinations a little bit scary from time to time, but the journey's there. Thinking that they live in a cold, cruel world with an angry God and people are jerks. You're going to have a really bumpy, terrifying ride to a place you never even wanted to go to if you're not thinking your thoughts to the best of your ability to be in alignment with stuff that will please you. So the unexpected, the unthought of, is always a stepping stone to a journey to a place we have thought of. What has the world been thinking of in these years and decades, perhaps centuries or millennia leading up to coronavirus? Thinking that we ought to be doing better, thinking that our priorities are askew, thinking that there's room for greater happiness than we have heretofore given ourselves credit for, thinking that there must be answers that we are just too busy to find the solutions for. And this yearning, this desire, this angst, this frustration, combined with so many people who've been left on the sidelines in a very broken economic world where there's so much exclusion and non-inclusion, these angst and these energies and these frustrations combined with a deep desire in all of us to slow down, smell the roses, rearrange our priorities, bring about something like COVID, which is not a sickness as much as it is a healing. It is both, but it is also the beginning of a healing. And I know personally, and almost no one I've spoken to in the last 14 months would disagree, that there has been amongst the hardship and the inconvenience a very clear silver lining, better priorities, more family time, a simpler life, greater inclusivity as we each of us who has the bandwidth tries to help those folks that are in food lines in America, in food lines, waiting for hours for turkey dinner or whatever it is. So we're all part of this brand new energy, this healing on planet Earth that we have pined for, that we have desired, that we have resisted, that we have blocked. It's just like the common cold or just like a cancer. We bring this about individually so that we can have a moment of self-reflection that we wouldn't give ourselves otherwise. We run to the point of utter exhaustion, and the only way we can sideline ourselves is through sickness. And sometimes the sickness will be as great as a cancer. But I have met so many, as you undoubtedly have, in all the touring and talks and teaching that you do, Michael, cancer survivors who have told me that it was among the greatest gifts of their entire life. And they're not talking about the insidious disease that was destroying their flesh. They're talking about the overall experience that process made possible, where they were sidelined, where
my wife and I always talk about the fact that we don't think of it as a gift because we would not give it to our kids, but we do see the gift in it. We do see so much good has come from what we've gone through and illness and things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't go all the way to gift, like I say, because I wouldn't deliberately give it to my kid. In fact, I've described both depression and cancer as best thing that ever happened, wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And when you see that though, Michael, if my daughter, I can't imagine on a 7-year-old, she turns 7 today. If my daughter was an adult and was in some ways, as awful as this might sound, not seeing the obvious or making choices that weren't in her best interest, or not living to her fullest potential because she didn't believe in herself, or in some other way was not all that she could be, radiant and joyful. And far be it from me to pass such judgments, but if somehow I knew that her angel was like, well, I could give her the gift of cancer and you're all going to hate it, but she's going to come out powerful. I could even see in the kaleidoscope and the expanse of things, putting it into context. This is, I'm not trying to.
I don't need. I don't need you to finish the analogy. I understand the idea. No, let me go sideways from that. When you guys, how did The Secret come about? Like, how did you become part of The Secret? And the question, and I wrote this in the show notes because this was like the only question I thought I really want to ask him this one too, was, did you guys have any idea what a big deal that was going to turn out to be?
Oh, great. Cool. Fun question. And it's not yes or no. Let me tell you, after it came out and blew up and I was, doing my normal touring and speaking to live audiences literally all over the world, which I was doing before The Secret came out. So many people were like, how did you meet Rhonda? And would you introduce me to Rhonda? Because I want to be in the sequel if there's going to be a sequel. And it's like such typical thinking of, the mortal person, the micromanager. It's who you know.
Yeah,
if I can meet Rhonda, I'll get it. It's like, this may sound conceited, but I would say how I got in The Secret was in the year 2000, when I went through my dark night of the soul, and I didn't know what I would be doing with the rest of my life. And I started dabbling with sending out emails from Mike, which were never very popular. But they evolved into Notes from the Universe, which to this day are wildly well.
Yes. What was it? Are you at 900,000? Did I read subscribers?
Yeah. Well, yeah. This year we'll hit 1 million. The projection is. It's amazing. So it's slow growth. It's 20 years at it, but we're at like 920,000 daily subscribers right now.
How many have you written? Do you know?
Over 3,000.
Wow.
And 17 books, 4 world tours. Audio programs, video courses, on and on and on, but everything sustained by the lifeblood of our free Notes from the Universe. It's been an amazing journey from the literally depths of the dark night of my soul, when I wondered if I would ever be happy again, if my life wasn't a total loss. It was really difficult. But as I started writing and it became popular and a couple of years went by and I was on my first world tour, I just wanted to just sing from the mountaintop that we are powerful creators, that you can change that which you don't like, that you can bring your dreams to fruition, that all things are possible. And I just had this vibe, if you will, of like just singing it to the world. Yeah. And to divine mind, all of our desires kind of go in this melting pot. When I met Rhonda and her sister Glenda in Chicago the day of filming, that's the first time I met her, and she was telling me that her vision was to bring joy to billions of people. And that's since became her, I think, trademarked motto or slogan, bringing joy to billions, which is pretty audacious.
No,
ambition.
that's
And I would tell anybody, when you have end result,
joy to 12. That was where I started. Just
say
12.
that again.
My original was bring joy to 12. I never copied it, but it that's I started writing my newsletter in 2000 for 12 people. That was how it began.
Wow, my first list was 36 people in about 1998, selling T-shirts with positivity on them.
So I've got 2 years to go to so I'm behind you by a couple. All right. I challenge taken.
Okay. Well done.
At some point, I'll let you actually answer my question. So you meet Rhonda and Glenda. It's day one.
Well, so basically their vibe, although perhaps a millionfold greater than mine, their vibe was like, I got this secret to share with the world. And I would say at the time, those who were reachable logistically, who knows who, and the universe handles the logistics, but you've got to be out and available. They were subscribers to Notes from the Universe, and they bought my first audio program, Infinite Possibilities. And the other folks who ended up being in it, like 25 teachers, featured teachers in the video and the book, The Secret, I would say all held to some degree or another the same kind of vibe, the same kind of desired end result, the same belief that it would be possible. And so circumstances start getting arranged behind the curtains of time and space where we can't see a damn thing. And as we show up doing what we can with what we got from where we are with baby mortal steps, the universe can kind of thread that needle and put us in a place where we're reachable. And I get an email from Rhonda and her sister, and can we bring you to Chicago and film for this documentary on the law of attraction? And suddenly I'm in The Secret. So anybody with a dream is connected to others who also want or need or complement that dream. Anybody with a fear, it's the same thing. You're connected with others who can bring it to pass. Fortunately, positive thoughts are much more powerful than negative thoughts, so you don't have to be afraid of every fear, like we said. But for me, that's what brought it about. And I will tell you, meeting with Rhonda and Glenda that first time, the morning breakfast in Chicago, the enthusiasm was this is going to be the biggest thing that has ever happened on Earth. And it's one of those things where you're involved in this conversation and everybody's on board and everybody says, yeah, but you've been there before. There's been a lot of times that we get swept off our feet with a lot of enthusiasm, and this is going to rock the world. And that little thing I thought of falling asleep last night, it's going to change my life and change the lives of millions of people. And a week later, you're like, that was the stupidest idea I ever had. And it never goes anywhere. So it felt like that. But Rhonda's vision was, because she was from the TV world in Australia with credentials, she was going to create this film. And the only dream that existed, apart from reaching billions, which, gets the universe thinking how that can be done, but Rhonda's mind of how that would be done. And so often our minds, our hows are different than the universe's hows. Rhonda's vision then was that she was going to go to these select TV markets, including the Cannes Film Festival, where she would meet film experts and TV experts. And The Secret was to debut on every major global planetary TV platform on the same day worldwide. Something that has never been done, something that didn't happen, something that's never happened ever since. Rhonda's vision was for this secret that she was so excited about, that what we think about, we bring about, the law of attraction, would be aired like nothing else had ever been aired. And she was so sure, and she was so confident, and she was so psyched. I mean, the vision was as big as it became, except the hows, as it came, as some may know. Michael, not one TV station, not even the funding, investing TV station of Australia, I think it's called the 3 or something.
Yeah.
Not even they would dedicate an evening or a 90-minute time slot to Rhonda's creation. So the whole thing was an utter, total disaster failure. What did Rhonda do? I don't know what the time frame was, but as she came to see that this vision wasn't going to work, she reached out to me and Joe Vitale and Lisa Nichols and the 22 other people who were in The Secret, all of whom had a platform by that time. This is 2006, 2007 is, when I met you, it was just about to come out.
Okay.
And she said, look, the TV station said no. I mean, she thought every TV station on earth would show it the same night. Not one, not even in Australia. So she said, would you guys distribute it? Tell your lists. Well, suddenly we all said yes. We were all stoked about the project. Yeah. She didn't come to us desperate or broken by any stretch. Yeah. It was just like, the show's going to go on. There's a new plan in order. It must have been devastating at some point for her, but she rebounded immediately. And so we all told our respective lists, and we were entitled to become distributors. I started buying it. This was a DVD in 2007. I bought it. I had to pay $15 wholesale. Right. I mean, you can buy a DVD now for I don't know what, or you could stream it on Amazon for $1. But I would buy a DVD wholesale for $15. I would retail it like everybody else for $30. And then she got on Oprah like 2 weeks in a row, and it just blew up. And there was no plans for a book. Cindy Black from Beyond Words in Oregon, a small publishing company, was very attuned to trends. And she saw that this DVD that skipped TV, that skipped cinema theater houses, was just blowing up in all spiritual circles around the world. And so she approached a connection of hers at Simon & Schuster with the imprint of Atria, and approached Rhonda Byrne. And so Beyond Words, Atria, Simon & Schuster went to Rhonda Byrne and said, hey, we think what you're doing could translate into the printed word and might make a great book. And Rhonda, was completely caught off guard. Obviously, it came to pass. Yeah. I believe, I don't know the numbers, but there was a pitifully small advance paid, very low expectations, except Rhonda would be on the phone with them in New York City, Rhonda in Australia, them in New York City, and she'd be like, don't you understand? This is going to be huge. And so they committed to 4-color process on every page, which was like a huge commitment. And then it went on to become, to this day, one of the best-selling self-improvement books in the history of our civilization. The book wildly outsold the DVD at the time, and presumably to this day. I prefer the DVD, the video. But, for those who like reading, the book hit the mark and just totally blew up. So to answer your question, Rhonda really, really held that conviction in spite of the plan not unfolding in any way, shape, or form as she had envisioned. And it actually came to pass. And she, if you ask Rhonda, how is it so successful? She's always said, I used The Secret. She literally dwelled on it, created affirmations, did acts of faith, took the baby steps, didn't take no for an answer. And the rest is history.
So I feel like I should applaud. I mean, because that is an amazing story. The thing that I love about it is also, I would say, my favorite thing in your writing. So I've subscribed, not since the beginning, but I've subscribed to the Notes from the Universe for a decade. There's a phrase you use a lot, the cursed house.
Yeah.
You talk about why we should beware the cursed house?
Yeah. These are primitive times we live in, Michael, as we know, you and I. And people use their physical senses to the exclusion of inner senses. They've been told and taught by loving guardians, you better figure it out. No one's going to figure it out for you. Blood, sweat, and tears, pour your heart into it, burn all of your bridges, tell everybody so they hold you accountable. And the next thing you know, you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders because you think you know how your dream's going to come true. But when we have a dream to have a successful book or a successful career or a great romance or health and healing, whenever we have a dream, divine intelligence is on it. Divine intelligence knows the shortest, quickest way there. It's still incumbent upon us to at least show up, to demonstrate faith and expectation, optimism, to kind of be the spark so that the universe can light a fire. If there's no spark, there's no fire. So we have to dream and show up. But in showing up, too often what people do is deny the universe, deny the magic. They think they're going to make it happen because their thoughts become things. And so you just watch me. And they attach to, this is how my dream will come true. Well, when you attach to or insist upon how I'm going to live in wealth and abundance, and the way I'm going to get there is my book will be loved by Oprah and I'm going to be, a bestseller, live happily ever after. Suddenly the book, which is a worthy dream, anybody can write a book that they love to write, that is popular, that makes a difference. But now writing that book is saddled with the responsibility of their finances taking off or else. Yeah. And they're so attached to and insistent upon, this is how my life will take off. They have absolutely shut the door on all other ways abundance in this illustration could have otherwise reached them. They could have started a business. They could have gone into a partnership. They could have, maybe it's going to be their third book and not their first book. The list is endless of how divine intelligence can reach us through inheritance, through lottery, there's a lot of ways divine intelligence can make somebody financially abundant. But if that person says, it's gonna be my book, they slam shut the door without realizing it because they're no longer thinking about thoughts become things. They're no longer thinking about any other possibilities. They're no longer up for alternatives. It's like my book, damn it, because I'm a creator and I can make it happen and think positive and I'm going to tell everybody. They write under duress. Their writing sucks. It's too much pressure. They never even like to read. And now they think they have to figure out how they're going to get $1 million. So they're going to I'm going to write a book. It's like, look, it's not even natural to most people to write a book, but they think that's an easy way to make a lot of money. So they focus on it exclusively. They are messing with what I call the cursed hows. There's going to be a how you get rich. There's going to be a how you heal from cancer. There's always going to be a how. But when you, at the beginning of a journey, name and claim, this is how, that's when it's cursed because you're excluding other options. Now, sometimes somebody could say, this is how, or this is who's going to fall in love with me, and it might work out. But the people I teach to aren't interested in sometimes, and they can have all the time. But the way you have all the time is you do not insist on specific behavior from specific people, number one. Do not insist upon how a dream will come true. You can go down that path, but leave the door open for better. Be open to other possibilities. Don't insist on specific behavior from specific people. Don't insist on how a dream will come true. And don't attach to unimportant details, knowing that all details are unimportant. They're cool, they're fun, they're sexy, they're going to be there in your life. But when you start attaching to bells and whistles, you lose sight of the magnificence of the big picture that you were after. Now it's about the sports car. Now it's about the vacation in Europe. Now it's about little micromanaged things that don't give you a full life. But you're putting them in front of a full life because you think, oh, that's how I will micromanage a full life. You're attaching to unimportant details. Those will be indirectly linked to specific people's behavior or cursed hows. They're just not that important. They're a dime a dozen. Maybe you're not going to go to London next year. You're going to go to Kathmandu. Maybe it's not going to be Tahiti. It's going to be, islands. Don't insist or attach to the hows, the whos, or unimportant details, because then you end up in the Bermuda Triangle. I've done this a long time, Michael. The Bermuda Triangle of manifesting.
I'm trying to imagine breakfast in the Dooley household. I'm trying to imagine, honey, this orange juice. Where is this orange juice from? This is extraordinary. The power of the sun has come into the fruit, and the fruit has been. I mean, is it like that, or do you kind of?
No. Never a prophet in your own town, especially not in your own home. It's like, take out the garbage, Daddy. Where's my toys? Where's my Legos? It's pretty conventional around here.
That's heartening to me, actually. I got to say, one of my kind of constant wonders about life, because that's I kind of have always considered myself to be in the wonderful life business, and to me, a wonderful life is a life filled with wonder. It's like there's a lot of cool stuff out there. Some of it I feel like I sort of understand. Some of it looks like an utter mystery to me. For you, do you still think of yourself as a seeker of mysteries and a seeker of truth, or do you feel like a finder, or is there some other description that fits better?
Oh, wow, no, man. Thank you for that question. Very much a seeker, but I will say, however pompous, all of the big questions I've had that can be answered and understood by a mortal brain were answered a long time ago. Well, no, not all of them, but I now know the answer to that which will make me happy, to live my best life. I know that we are divine creators. Most stuff I don't know. I'll never know. Can't handle it. Can't comprehend it. But anybody can know the basic logistics of who we are, how we got here, why we're here, and how to rock the dickens with joy in our life. So those were the mysteries that taunted me in my early 20s, even as a teenager. Like, what's the point? Like, why? I was raised a Catholic. There's a lot of beauty there, but there's a lot of stuff that's not beautiful there. And so that didn't satisfy me. Parents didn't satisfy me. I started thinking a lot, drawing my own conclusions, and then found the Seth material dictated by Jane Roberts. Yeah. Very, very profound stuff. And I have never stopped. Yes. Yeah. I've never stopped finding good stuff. But there's so much further I could go in regards to self-realization, total illumination, total enlightenment. I'm on it. I work on it literally every single day with joy. So, there is still vast mystery before me that excites me. I do not think that some things are unknowable. I think the human brain on a timeline can get boxed in and not see the forest for the trees. But we can go off the timeline and we can go into altered states. And I'm not talking about psychedelics or anything like that. Some people use that, but through contemplative thought, deductive reasoning, meditation, long walk in the woods with your dogs, you can get really, really close to God and have altered states where much more can be fathomed and ascertained. So I found the majority of what I was looking for. But that has set me up for, facing head on more mysteries that I also believe I can answer with regard to full self-realization, Yogananda, autobiography of a yogi kind of stuff. And that excites me. That's there.
Well, you got to come back on when you get there. I've been dying to have that conversation.
Oh, say that again. It was warbly.
Oh, just the whole enlightenment, full enlightenment.
Oh man, yeah. Let's do a whole segment on that. I got some stuff to share with you, brother.
All right. Last question. Everybody gets. I'm going to make you emperor. So you get to decree whatever you want. And everyone on it. What's your first decree?
Oh my gosh. Well, being a bit cheeky here, I am the emperor of my life. And I think what I need to do is square it away and remove all attachment to the illusions to the degree that they might make me unhappy, so that I can live in a full state of ecstasy and thereby be the brightest light to those in the world in darkness who are looking for light. If I could make a command that would come true, it would be for everyone to know the truth of their beauty and power, because truth would set them free into lifetimes of joy. It's all about joy. The adventure here is self-chosen by all of us for the adventure of it, to live in joy, to discover who we really are, the eyes and the ears of God. That's not really one answer, but I'm the emperor, okay? So
exactly. Like, I'm not going to miss. Mike, it has been an absolute pleasure.
My honor, Michael.
Forward to the next time we can occupy this.
True honor, Michael. You are a hero to me, a bright light in my life. Thank you for your great work, your great books, and I'm here for you, man. Anytime you want to jam, it might help, might not, might hurt.
Can't hurt.
Can't hurt.
Thanks, Mike.
Cheers.